because everything comes back, maybe just because I'm Jewish, everything comes back to a food metaphor.
A food analogy. I know it does.
I mean,
is that a Jewish
it.
thing? Is it a Jewish thing?
I think it's a little bit of a Jewish thing. I think food is a big expression of our culture, and as it is to many, but it really is like there's a whole thing there. But also, I don't know. Jeff just laughs at me. He's like, "Oh my God, I've never met a person who like uses so many." Analogy. My favorite one literally is like a salad bar, right? Like just get a good solid base of like greens, arugula and lemon arugula and romaine and then whatever you freaking put on top of it is going to be amazing. Like who cares, right? Like a little artichoke card. Give me I want a Mediterranean themed, base. But to me, it's just like get a good base and walk with that base and then add to the base, which is kind of perfect for this blueprint conversation. But yes, I love a good food analogy.
Yeah, nice. And even just like speaking about like food fundamentals, like it was interesting when you mentioned last podcast and I'll bring it up again, just like you're like, it's just so sensible, like a banana and a potato, like these are just fundamental, like they are, well, in fact, they're not actually fruit and vegetable. I don't know if you know this. So apparently they were deregulated by the World Health Organization. I'm not sure of their status anymore, but I do remember this. Yes, that a
banana's not a fruit anymore?
Well, I've got to remember whether it's a starch.
Mind blown.
Is it a starch or a fruit? I'm not sure, but that's the same with potato. Went from vegetable to a starch. Equally though, so did sweet potato. But for some reason, sweet potato has this absolute health halo, and potatoes should be like avoided at all costs. Now, I will say, and look, I don't mean to get all geeky about this, but if you have an issue with nightshade vegetables, like the family of nightshade vegetables, like potatoes and tomatoes and capsicum and chili and cayenne, like sometimes people who have arthritis struggle. And there are other autoimmune like issues that might have a negative reaction to them. But I mean, that's not most people, but we vilify potatoes and we just revere the sweet potato, which is super interesting.
I mean, all the freaking time. But as like a sort of a little piggyback, our last episode, we kind of started this conversation about like a little mini strength renewed blueprint concept, right? To just take like a few of the main pillars of things that we talk about regularly and just give you, a few things under that pillar to root yourself to it, right? Like obviously you tuned into this podcast because health and how you're thinking about health, you want to evolve, right? You want to feel a renewal of sorts, right? So we talked about connection. I told you that freaking amazing story about my black tank top at Lululemon, and it was awesome. If you haven't listened to it, well, listen to it. But I love that you had posted, and it made me think once again about the illogical ways in which we think about food. And so then, of course, that's an important category to be mindful of, number one, how you're thinking about it, because I'm that person. I'm a banana weirdo where I'm like, oh, should I just have half the banana? No, I want to have the whole full banana. Why am I doing this to myself? Like, no, I don't even know, right? Yeah. But you get it. Yeah. And then it was the same thing. Sweet potatoes have the most amazing health halo that even when I was at Whole Foods today and I was like, I walked right by the regular potatoes and went straight to the sweet because I saw the regular potatoes as a no-no, right? In my head. So it was so perfect to read that because I'm like, oh my God, I was there. So then I'm going to just ask you to retie it. If we're rerouting ourselves to like in trying to quiet the noise a little bit, rerouting a food concept would obviously be protein, mostly for you because it's just the most bang for everything. You get to eat more of it, frankly, right? The good kinds of protein, and you're helping your body to hold on to muscle. So that would be obviously a big one. Just look for proper protein sources and probably eat more than you might think you need in a given day-ish.
Yeah. Okay. And then when it comes to carbohydrate-based sources, what tends to happen is we avoid fruit and we avoid potatoes and we avoid those sort of minimally processed options. But sooner or later, we dive into the peanut butter cups. We dive into the potato crisps. We eschew like these things here, but then, or we might grab a protein bar instead of a piece of fruit because we're hungry,
Totally.
Whereas from a health perspective, you're just going to like, there's more to it than just blood sugar regulation. And I think metabolic health is I'm super passionate about, but your blood sugar regulation is more than just carbohydrate load and protein. It's micronutrients as well. And so, and often we don't think about that. So, if you are having a piece of fruit, I mean, my preference for most people is have a piece of fruit after a meal where you've had the vegetables and you've had the protein. And the same with the potato. And even if you do have blood sugar management issues, you cook and cool the potato or the sweet potato. Like you can have both, and then you have it the next day. So it just changes that starch content. So you
What is
just
it again? Tell me. I always forget this. How do I
yeah.
change the starch content with the sweet potato, for instance?
Because when you cook and cool potato, and to a lesser extent but still similar, sweet potato, it changes the starch, the cell structure actually. And when it cools down, it gelatinizes and it then becomes resistant to us digesting it. Whereas when it's hot, it is broken down and very easy to digest. When it starts cooling, it goes that gelatinized. So you need to cool it completely. So you'd pop it in the fridge overnight. And so if you either have it cold or you reheat it, it still has some of that resistant starch remain. So people who
That
have,
is so freaking genius. What about
yeah,
like this is like a weird question, but since like what about like a frozen banana? Is that different than like
it is actually
okay.
like there are bananas bananas naturally have some resistant starch if they're greener. So the more ripe they are, the more sugar it is, and the less ripe it is, the more starch it contains. But it's a different type of resistant starch. So, but it's not about. But with the potato and the sweet potato, it is the cooking and the cooling. Interestingly, rice is the same. If you cook rice,
Okay, I was just going to ask you what are like the two main starch resistant sort of and you would say potatoes and rice?
yeah, and to some extent, I do think oats are as well. Oh, someone will have to fact check me on that because I haven't, but I'm
Okay,
pretty
that's
sure I
fine.
saw that. Yeah,
And fortunately I love all of these things cold, which is so
yeah,
weird, but even if I but it's really good to know that if you cook all of these things and then put them, which I often do, you put them in leftovers or whatever, and you put them in Tupperware, and then the next day you have a spoonful with your salad or whatever, and I'll microwave them. I'll just have it cold. I love actually cold sweet potatoes, and I
yeah,
love
yum,
cold oats. Also weird,
yeah.
but that's really good to know. Hence, I guess like overnight oats and all of that stuff is probably quite good then.
It is good, but with the
Mhm.
overnight oats, you want to cook them first. So often with overnight oats, you pop them in. However, I follow a girl on Instagram and she makes my egg white oats with, I say mine, they weren't mine. I think they were hers first, but they were
Everything is
someone
yours next.
else's. Oh no, if only. And she actually does her egg white oats at night and then she puts it in the fridge, has them cold in the morning. I might try that actually. I haven't tried that yet.
Because now also like cartons of egg whites are like my absolute mother
Yeah,
effing best. I don't I could go through a case of them. That's another amazing thing because I will have egg whites in my smoothie and then I will like have toast and a mess of scrambled egg whites. And it's amazing. I mean,
it
you're
is.
literally full. And that was like 200 calories at most. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you can eat a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of egg whites
You
in
really
those cartons.
can.
So
Yeah.
that is something like, hello, people, and you can have a nice little rosemary and things on top, and it's a really joyful way to eat. And then you can add the egg white, same thing, into your smoothie with your banana, and it's fine. But also just the oats, I cook them. Put them in a bowl; they're already cooked, and then if I want to like sprinkle a little egg whites, I'm just saying in with that, and then put it in the
No.
refrigerator and have it the next. No,
N-
do that. Okay,
No, no. So
cook
what it
it.
is cook it, cook it.
Okay,
It's on my Instagram feed. In fact,
okay.
I went quietly because it's only viral for me on this video which shows you how to make it, and you put eggs. No, I'm sorry, you put oats and water, and you put like 300 grams of water to 40 grams of oats, and then you cook it so it's quite watery, but then you have the egg whites 200 grams measured out ready to go, and then as your oats are thickening, you're stirring, you slowly stir in the egg whites, and then you just keep stirring like your life depends. You're not allowed to move. You can't move or else you'll have scrambled eggs. So this fluffs up, and it's on my story. Like it literally, if you went to my story, Jess, you will see it there today. But so the next thing, so you can either do it at the time and have them hot, as I did today, or this girl Lou, who I follow, she always has them cold. She actually pre-does it overnight. Interesting.
Okay. But if I
Yeah.
want to be super weird, I could cook the egg whites and put them into my cold, already cooked oats from the night before.
You
Like,
can do it however you like.
yeah, that would
Yeah.
be weird, but also not weird because it would still kind of go with the whole theme of this.
I'm sure it would.
Good. Okay. So moral of the story is so it's oats,
Yolks.
sweet potatoes or regular potatoes too,
Yeah.
and rice.
Yeah.
So if you're cooking them, like put them in the refrigerator and eat them the next day, and they'll just be like it'll take your body longer to digest it. Of
Yeah.
sorts.
They're not as high in carbohydrate and they're slower to digest. And
Great.
equally though, if you do just eat your cooked potato just fresh out the oven, that's okay too.
And that is part of the bigger piece of this too.
Yeah.
That because people are going to go, oh God, well, what if I do that? So I'm nothing. You still get a lot of benefits of a sweet potato, right, Mix? Like even though I'm eating out of the oven, like it's still
And
good.
And a potato.
Sorry, see, health
Yeah.
halo. So and the potato, and you can still have your steak or your hamburger or whatever with your either potato, and you're going to be just fine. That's a good dinner. That's a good dinner, and that's not that hard to make. Actually, it's pretty
No,
easy.
and I think and I like it because, often we feel fuller when we have these more fibrous, more nutrient rich sources of carbohydrate. Like your body doesn't just seek out protein, it seeks out micronutrients as well. And potassium is definitely one of them. As is sodium. So, put some salt with it. And you feel more satisfied. You get like this, you don't have this real pull towards other foods later on in the afternoon. I think this is where people go wrong, is that they avoid fruit and carbohydrate and potato, and then they feel just not satisfied with their meals.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think, and look, there are people like who follow my plans and we have minimal fruit and we have minimal potato and we really dial in the protein and vegetables, because actually for fat loss, just, you just want a low calorie plan. And I just say, hey, look, add in carbs for exercise, but keep it low carb otherwise. Outside of that, there are lots of very active, lean individuals who avoid these foods and then wonder why they're not getting satisfied, or why they're just, caving and going to the junk food later. And I think that's probably a part of it.
Well, definitely, the health halo was such a perfect way to put it, because that happens all the time, and every time we eat, there's just this weird sense of like we're apologizing to our other self. You know what I mean? So sorry it's a potato, or so sorry like I had the banana. Whoops, that was bad. Or I mean, it's still like it's 2025, and the amount of clients I have that'll be like, I was so good, I didn't have any bread, and I was like, like why this is what you're repeating over and over and over again to yourself, but that's not really helping you, and you're not going to get that, like, they're kind of looking for this like lean, strong, muscular body, but I'm like, a lot of those bodies you're after, like there's a shit ton of carbohydrates in that diet, you know what I mean? So it's just, again, helping people to know. And again, this helps me too. So I am, I'm part of the demographic that has villainized, food, and had weird, associations with it, and not even sure why I thought that way, but because I heard it, and then that narrative never left me. And so, but I will say, to exactly your point, there obviously must be some logic, but like when I'm having a scrambled egg white kind of meal, I do enjoy having like a little fruit or a piece of sourdough bread or something, you know what I mean, with that. And I feel better. It makes me, it's like I feel more satiated. I'm not kind of looking for that next thing. And I don't know. I just, totally. So people just know that have more protein than you think that you need, like good sources. I love this concept. We've talked about it over and over again, but it's like, you really do get to enjoy more food this way versus like a bar, like something that just is, you're like, oh, that was annoying, and just gave up 500 calories, and I could have had like chicken and a big ass salad and whatever. And then again, no matter how many times I say this, there's a big place, an important place for carbohydrates. And one way to think about it is to invite some of those carbs in, like potatoes or rice or oats, and in an effort, if you want, you can have them the moment you make them nice and warm and delicious out of the oven, but you can also have them the next day, and they will be a little slower for your body to digest, so a little bit less starchy at that point in time. And that's easy, really, for people.
It is
I think
easy
to think about. Those are quick pillars, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And you can get a lot of bang for your buck in terms of volume from potato and fruit because they are so fibrous and water filled and things like that as
Yeah,
well. And low calorie.
a super good point. And I
I
will just
know.
add to, and we'll continue, but for the like, the strength bucket, why I continue to, long live my kettlebell adventure and journey is so much of it is not complicated because you don't need a lot of equipment. And so I love that it still keeps this one piece of equipment, a million things you can do with it, but it's not overwhelming. And it's not perfect, just like potatoes are not perfect, but it does give you, a potato with a lean piece of meat is kind of like a kettlebell. It gives you a lot of what you need, right? You're going to get cardio, endurance, you're going to build muscular strength. And I think it's nice that you're not having to seek out a whole lot of other things. And,
Yeah.
put
And we'll
kettlebells
talk
and
more
core
about
together
that
for that too.
next one.
Yeah,
For sure.
I love it. So
Yeah.
we'll keep working on the blueprint, but it's nice that people have a few things in which to connect in the world a little differently on when they're engaging. Think about how you're eating, and we'll talk more about how you're lifting. Hopefully, it involves a kettlebell.
Yeah. Yeah. Great.
What are you grateful for, Max?
The potato.
All of the kinds. Gemma loves a loaded potato. Though I will say her favorite thing in the whole wide world is potato with bacon
lovely.
bits and cheese.
Oh, delicious. Lovely. All right, Jess. See you soon.
Bye-bye.